Hi there and welcome. My name is Carlos Berlitz, and since most of you are here for Dungeons & Dragons, we are going to talk about Session 0. So let's get to it. In a simple way, Session 0 is the very first session that you have with the whole group, where you will basically lay the social contract that everyone will use in this campaign that is going to start. It's really called Session 0 instead of Session 1 because there is not much of game or playing during this session. So it's really not the first session, it's the first get-together. In my personal opinion, this is the moment that everyone should lay out the ground rules that you are expected to be followed in the next sessions. From the most basic ones like schedule and how you are supposed to the group behave when someone is unable to make the sessions, to some difficult ones like if you are allowed to drink or smoke at the table and everything like that. And also not only the outside of game part, but also how the game itself will be handled. Going to everything that is inside the game, you have all the consent part, which I have a video here, and also what topics people are not comfortable with, how you are going to roll stats, which I also have a video if you roll like low stats, and how to role play with them, but also house rules, optional rules, exactly how the universe and gods and everything behave for your game, and how every one of the players can expect to have the next sessions. I think that since this is a social gathering, like role-playing games have a lot of social aspects, you should be quite straightforward and explain if you are expecting to have a lot of undead, a lot of devils, or whatever. Like, if the guy that or the person is supposed to have a ranger, the person doesn't choose a favorite enemy that won't appear at all. So try to be clear and concise with all your ideas that everyone is in the same page when the game begins. Since this is supposed to be the first get-together of the group, it's supposedly to be before making any of the characters. It may not be the case for every group, but this is the way that it's supposed to be. And to mitigate that lacking of playing, usually in the end of the Session 0, every player will be doing their characters. So that's to mitigate a little bit of the lack of rolling dices. And on top of that, also, this is the session where the GM or the DM will really introduce the scenario with a little more of the pitch of what he expects that the group will look for during the next sessions. However, since this is a session like any other one, it's not just what the DM wants, it's also what the players want, actually. And so it may be useful to just stay in the backseat for a while they decide how the party formation will be, how many they will be, and everything like that. You can come up, if you are a DM watching it, you can come up from time to time and give your input like, oh, I was not planning to that, or something like that. But try to collaborate, and everyone, this is really the kind of mindstorm and brainstorm session that everyone will give their ideas, and you can then later start the game with everyone on the same page and everyone having a quite clear idea what you are expecting in the next sessions. And probably then you have much more fun being you a player or a DM. And if you are a player, give your input in the Session 0. Don't wait until you are later in the game then say, oh, I was expecting that. if you never mentioned it before, it will be really hard to you DM to prepare for it. So this was a brief video on a session-0, what it is and how I think you should handle that. I think that it might be useful for a lot of beginner DMs or beginner players, but also maybe there are some ideas that experienced ones may use in their future games. If you like the video, like the damn video, share, subscribe, and comment what you think about session-0, if you use it, if you don't use it, and how usually you handle that. And I will see you all in the next video, probably next week. And see ya!